I don't usually have props to bring up. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. And that is such a profound truth that we are more than whatever is going on, whatever situation we're dealing with. We are more than this. We are one with the divine, and God is greater than any challenge. So thank you again. We are in our fall program. It started at 8 o'clock. And Gary did a wonderful job announcing it and encouraging everybody to join up. And we're going to do overkill because I'm going to talk to you about it too. Fall Reflections is not just a book study. I've heard some people think it was kind of like our Valley Book Club. This is a time when we come together as a community, as a spiritual center. We renew our commitment to this place, to each other, to our spiritual path. And we come together in small groups and get to know each other more deeply, get to know ourselves in ways that we didn't know before through the study of a book. We have this study guide that will be guiding people who are in the small groups to move through the book and through their own growth and evolution. I encourage everyone to sign up for a group. If you have a commitment during the fall program that's already in place and you need to miss one or two of the meetings, so it is. The commitment we ask is once you do sign up, though, you don't make any additional commitments that would take you away from the program. For example, we would hope that once you've signed up, you don't say, well, this Wednesday I'm not going because I want to go to the movie, you know. But if you had a trip planned or some other commitment in place now, don't let that stop you. When I first found unity, one of the biggest gifts for me was the community, just like this community. And what I did the very first year is I joined in that church's fall program. And I got to know people and I got to learn the unity teachings more deeply. I came to know myself better. And it became my practice that every year I signed up for this. Every year I was gifted so much more. Before I found unity, I was on a path, a spiritual path, more or less. I would find some spiritual author that I liked, and I would read everything by that author and absorb the ideas and get inspired. And then when I was done reading, I'd kind of drift away from it all. And then after a while, I'd find some other author. They used to have cassette tapes. Remember those things? I used to listen to some cassette tapes and read some more by somebody else and get inspired. And then I used up all the materials by that person. And so it was kind of an in and out of my spirituality. And it was good. It was good. But there is something about joining in with a group of people that can share the things that you believe, the things that you hope for, the way you try to live your life, that can support you in that, and you can support them. It's a precious gift to have people you can talk to about the things of spirit. I've talked, as a psychologist, I would talk to people who didn't have this. And it was a void, it was an emptiness that they described. Because it's precious to be able to do that. I was walking my dog. There's a a bike path not far from where I live. And she and I have a system going where she's learning how to behave with other dogs who are walking. And the way the system works is I see the other dog first. I get her to sit down. She sits down. She behaves very nicely and then walks up in a friendly manner and says hello to the other dog. When I don't see the other dog first, it's total chaos. But I was walking with her, and this was in the last few days of my sabbatical. I was walking on that trail with her, and I don't know how, but this big white poodle came up. I didn't see her. My dog Sachi didn't see her, so the mayhem didn't happen. But all of a sudden, there's this big white poodle, and the poodle was off leash. And then a bicycle pulls up, and a man on a bicycle pulls up next to the dog and starts pulling out burrs and starts talking about this fur, just gathers all the burrs, and he's taking them out, and he's taking them out. And he looks at me, he goes, "Do you have any talent in pulling out burrs?" And I said, "I have talent, but not in pulling out burrs." So he said to me, "What do you have talent in?" And I was kind of taken aback because I was just being smart-mouthed before. And I said, "Well, I have talent in working with people." And he said, "What, are you a psychologist?" And I said, "Yes, but I'm retired now." He goes, "Well, what do you do now? Are you a minister?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "What kind of denomination are you a minister for?" And I said, "Unity." He goes, "Oh." He goes, "I know there's a Unity church in Vacaville. It's called Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center." And I said, "I know that church." He said, "Yeah, I've been thinking of coming there for a long time. But right now, all I do is I take my dog and we walk behind the church." And I said, "Oh." I go, "Well, I haven't seen you there." He goes, "And I haven't seen you there." And I said, "But I haven't been there for a while." He goes, "What, are you on sabbatical?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Have you gone on any retreats on your sabbatical?" And I started telling him about the Buddhist silent retreat I attended, and he listened. And he said, "Well, when I go on retreats, I go to Christian contemplative retreats. I haven't tried a Buddhist retreat." He goes, "The last one I attended was led by James Finley." What all of you don't know is James Finley is currently one of my favorite authors, and I've been reading James Finley. So he started telling me about his retreat with James Finley and talked about a few other authors, and then mentioned a woman, and I can't remember her name. And he goes, "From her I've learned one very important thing." And I said, "And what's that?" He goes, "If you're going to be on a spiritual path, to be on a spiritual path, you need three things." He said, "The first and the most important is a spiritual community. The second is the ability to be with God, the ability to go into the silence and to find God within you. And he said, the third is to be able to welcome all of the things that come to you each day." Isn't that beautiful? So, spoiler alert, the topic for this week is mystery, the mystery we encounter in life. How did that get orchestrated, this chance meeting, because of a big white poodle named Princess and the burrs that she has, and this conversation with an apparent stranger about some of the deepest things, about some of the most precious things? If I believe that we are separate, if I am separate and he is separate and each one of us is separate, what are the chances of bumping into someone and having that kind of conversation? It becomes a mystery beyond explanation. However, if I believe, if I know that we are truly one, that there is a divine presence, a divine intelligence, one power and one presence that is the truth of all of us, then that mystery becomes not so much a mystery, but just an ability to be in awe of the truth. That encounter is a demonstration of that truth. And I believe that we need those experiences of the mystery to stay grounded in the truth of who we are. But what he said is also what I experienced when I found my first Unity Church, that importance of the community. This is one of the biggest reasons why we have this fall reflection program every year. So each and every one of us can recommit to this community, go deeper in our connection to the others in the community. One of the things that Unity of the Valley was doing long before I got here was when they were moving through the fall program, every week was a different color. So we're continuing to do that. This week the color is yellow. And if you need to know what the colors coming up are, if you get one of these booklets on the 4th page, I believe, is a table of contents that gives the theme for every week. And across the top are the colors. See, that's yellow, that's for this week. The next one for next week is red. And all the colors are there. So yellow is a luminous color. It's a color that brings light. And when we live in the mystery, we definitely live in the light. It's a color that captures attention. And hopefully the mystery that we encounter each and every day captures our attention. It is the color of happiness and sunshine, the color of wisdom. The book that we are using as a guide through this program is the Book of Secrets, Unlocking the Hidden Dimensions of Your Life. It's a great book. And it was written by Deepak Chopra. How many people here know of Deepak Chopra? Okay, everybody. Maybe you don't know, though, that he has written many, many books, more than 50 books. There are not many people who have written more than 50 books in a lifetime. So he has offered a lot of wisdom through his books. He was born in New Delhi. He's Hindu, of Indian parents. His father was a cardiologist in New Delhi. His brother also became a doctor and ended up being a professor of medicine at Harvard. He himself, Deepak, got a medical degree while in India, and then later came to the United States and completed several residencies. So residencies are training that doctors get after they're doctors, right? And his residencies were in internal medicine. And there's a subspecialty of internal medicine that's endocrinology. And he was drawn to endocrinology. He was especially drawn to neuroendocrinology, which is a bunch of big words, but it's about the way that our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors are linked to the chemical changes in our bodies. And this is one of several specialties that have been emerging over the last 20, 25 years that focus on mind-body medicine. When I was a psychologist and working for a large insurance corporation, they would send me to week to 10-day trainings in psychoneuroimmunology, which is another field that looks at the mind-body connection. The reason this insurance company was spending all this money to send me is they checked out the research that stress and illness are strongly linked, and the ability to release stress, to be at peace, to be centered is closely linked to health. So they wanted me to learn about the mind-body connection and health so that I could come back and help their employees be healthy. Because someone was very wise at that corporation, knowing that when employees are happy and healthy, they are better employees, and the company makes more money. There's less loss due to illness. So psychoneuroimmunology or psychoneuroendocrinology is like what Deepak was doing, was taking his Western medicine training and looking how that relates to what spiritual traditions have known over the ages, that the mind and body are one, and that the healing that we do, no matter how much doctors may help, ultimately that mind-body connection is at the heart of all healing. So he's strongly trained in that, and reading his work, you can tell how profoundly grounded in Western medicine he is. Where he's different from some of the mainstream is how he integrates some of the spiritual teachings and this mind-body field that he immersed in, and the way he sometimes comes up with a brand new way of seeing. Not all Western doctors are on board, but I think the ones that are open to the mind-body connection are aligned with what he's teaching. So just to get a sense of how profoundly grounded in Western science and medicine he is, he taught medicine at Harvard, and they don't hire quacks to teach medicine at their college. He was chief of staff at Boston Regional Medical Center, also a fairly well-known, highly respected institution. But having done all that, he went back to India and he studied Ayurvedic medicine and practices. He also immersed himself in transcendental meditation and became very active in supporting the transcendental movement. He backed away from the transcendental movement because it was interfering with his growing this mind-body medicine practice and teachings, because at the time, the transcendental movement did not have a very good reputation. And it wasn't because it was a problem with the meditation, it was just society had not caught up to its value. He established a wellness center near San Diego. He has a wellness foundation. He had a radio show. He lectures all over the place. Plus, he wrote more than 50 books. So, we are being blessed with the wisdom of an amazing, amazing man. So, I gave the spoiler alert. Today we are focusing on the mystery, or the mysteries of life. And this is something that Deepak said that I think captures the totality of this book. When you are living in the truth of one reality, every secret reveals itself without effort or struggle. The story I told about the man with the large poodle, if I believe in our separateness, then what happened was a mystery. But if I believe in the oneness, in one power, one presence, one mind, then of course we would meet. Of course that conversation. And so it all keeps boiling back to each of the secrets that he delves into helps us know more deeply that there is one power and one presence in my life, God the Good. I don't know about you, but sometimes I know that with my whole being. Sometimes I just know it up here, and I struggle to know it more deeply. And I believe this program is one way of deepening that knowing. I'm going to let Deepak speak for himself a little bit.
I'm Dr. Deepak Chopra. In the next 60 minutes, I hope we can all together, with a little help and insight from me, help solve the mystery of our existence. So I was traveling through the country, and one of the places that was part of my tour was Los Angeles. I was picked up at the airport by my son Gautam and my grandson Krishu as we call him, who was then 5 years old. He's a very smart little mind, a very smart little fellow. So as we got out of the airport, he looks at me and he says, Dada. Dada is the Indian word for grandfather on the father's side. He said, Dada, what is dark energy?
5 years old.
Interesting question to come from a 5-year-old. And I said to him, what do you know about dark energy? And he said, it flows through the night sky. Very poetic, very beautiful. I said, what else do you know about it? He said, it's 70% of the universe. I'm thinking to myself, how does he know all this? We get out of the airport and we're driving in the car. We're driving in Santa Monica. I roll down the window and we can smell the ocean, we can see the ocean. He looks at me again, he says, how did they make that? I said, make what? He said, how did they make the ocean? I said, who make the ocean? And he said, they. I said, that's not a precise question. You have to tell me what you mean by they. And so I can see him thinking for a bit. And he reframed the question. He said, how did the ocean get made? So I said, the ocean got made the same way as the earth got made. A giant star exploded, and that was the solar system. We're a planet amongst many. The ocean is part of the elements of this planet. And then I kind of turned to him and I said, do you know how many planets there are in the solar system? And he said, well, if you count Pluto, there are 9. But if you don't count Pluto, because some people don't think Pluto is a planet, then there are 8. I said, and where did the solar system come from? He said, the galaxy. I said, where did the galaxy come from? He said, the universe. And I asked him, I said, and where did the universe come from? And without batting an eyelid, he said, from another dimension. So, I'm Indian. I'm thinking, who's this kid? We believe in reincarnation and all that. So I'm thinking to myself, Galileo, Copernicus, maybe even Einstein. I said, Krishu, how do you know all this? He said, it's on my Pokemon.
It's on his Pokemon. So this young boy was asking about many of the mysteries of our universe. Dark matter, dark energy, creation. Where did that ocean come? I've said many times that I like to walk the beach, and that's my church, and I get to experience the presence of God, and I look at that ocean, just like what you saw in that video clip, those waves rolling in, and knowing the vastness of that water, knowing the many living things that fill it, and knowing that that pattern of the waves is going to be there even after it's disrupted by a storm, or maybe after it's become still when the winds die down, how it reemerges with that pattern of waves and how those waves carry an energy that fills the entire ocean, that is one with the energy that moves through me. And as I become aware of this, I am filled with the mystery. And being filled with the mystery becomes the identical experience of being filled with that which I call God. So becoming aware of the mystery, holding the mystery in consciousness, honoring the mystery. And again, more and more as I come to know the truth of oneness, the mystery dissolves into that truth and becomes of course that's what it is. So this first week in the study groups or on your own, you are invited to delve into the questions around the mystery. And hopefully you will find those experiences meaningful and enlightening. Author Aldous Huxley, he wrote Brave New World. Remember Brave New World? He wrote, "I am entirely on the side of mystery. I mean, any attempt to explain away the mystery is ridiculous. I believe in the profound and unfathomable mystery of life, which has a sort of divine quality about it." Or Jack Kornfield, one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, says, "It is the basic principle of spiritual life that we learn the deepest things in unknown territory. Often it is when we feel most confused inwardly and are in the midst of our greatest difficulties that something new will open, that some new understanding emerges, that a deeper way of knowing this mystery comes up. We awaken most easily to the mystery of life through our weakest side, through those times when we are most challenged. The areas of our greatest strength, where we are the most competent and clearest, tend to keep us away from the mystery." I have a friend, and she was notorious that once she had done something, she felt she never needed to repeat it. It was like, yeah, I've done that. Yep, I went to California. I'm done, Or I went to Yellowstone, so I don't have to go back again, which I didn't understand, but there was a sense of, I know that. I don't need to do it again. I do that in other areas of my life. We all do it sometimes. There have been even T-shirts, been there, done that, right? We know that culture. When we're in that frame of mind of been there, done that, we're not open to that growth, to the mystery, to the opening to the greater truth. So sometimes it takes those difficult times, those challenging times, to make us open up again to that which is most deeply true. However, we can develop a practice of opening to that mystery in the good days, in the easy days, and living in it, and living through it. Albert Einstein said the most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. So I invite you this week to live in the mystery, to talk about the mystery, to reflect on the mystery, to journal the mystery, to sing the mystery, if you will. And allow that to be your personal unfoldment. Namaste.